My friend Rabbi Daniel Lapin, Orthodox Jewish rabbi, we became really good friends when I read his wonderful book, Thou Shalt Prosper, and it's the 10 reasons that Jewish people have had an inordinate statistical probability of prospering in any culture, in any situation over time. And it's a wonderful lesson. 10 reasons that Jewish people tend to prosper more than other populations in any setting in history so far. Now, once I read that and I thought, oh, and he pointed out that 3% of Americans are Jewish and 67% of the Forbes 400 are Jewish. So immediately I want to read this book. So we read it, went through it. It's fabulous. It's a chewy read. He's a deep guy. And I started talking about it several years ago on the radio. I said, this book is incredible. Y'all need to read this book. And he and I had never met. And he called me up. He was living in Seattle at the time. He's South African. So he's got this fabulous accent. I wish I could do it with my hillbilly accent. But he calls me up and he says, I don't know who you are. You're amazing. My book is selling. I love you. It has that effect when we talk about things on the radio, right? And so I said, oh, I love your book. I'm a fanboy. That's why I'm telling people they need to read your book. It's incredible. It's a great message. Everyone, regardless of their faith background, should read this book. It's incredible. And he said, thank you. And he ended up coming on the show. He spoke at events for us. We've become really good friends over the years and had some fabulous discussions about what I call the Old Testament, what he calls the Bible. And yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, we've become close friends, and I love the man dearly. He's something else. And he taught me this. He said, if one of your children helps another of your children, it pleases you as a parent. If you have more than one kid and one of them reaches over and helps the other one instead of smacks them all the time, it's a pleasant experience. Instead of constantly going at each other, when your children actually cooperate and love each other and serve each other, it makes your chest stick out as a mom or a dad, doesn't it? It makes you very proud of them. And guess what? God's the same way. He said, you please God when you help one of his children by serving them with your business. So business should be viewed with a higher calling, as a noble endeavor. God is smiling when you help one of his children. Your brothers and sisters in the world have a better life, just like you as a mom or dad smile when two of your children cooperate to have a better life. See, I see honest and brave and noble leaders all over the place. I know who you are, and you don't deserve, and I don't deserve the rap that some of these leftist nutburgers are giving us. It's crazy, y'all. Fundamentally, capitalism works. It is our intent in utilizing that method of economics that makes money and business a blessing or a curse. So again, are we greedy? Are we just extracting? Or are we adding value and serving? And that changes the whole process. We call that sanctified capitalism. Philosopher and theologian Michael Novak said that true capitalism is possible via a three-legged stool: economic freedom, political freedom, and moral restraint. Those are the three legs on the stool. Economic freedom, it means fewer regulatory restraints, open trade, marketplace competition. You charge the appropriate amount that you choose to charge, not what a governmental agency says you charge. You keep the profit instead of having your butt taxed off, and then you can do good stuff with the profit because that is your intent all along. You get to serve with your business. Political freedom is you can operate without fear of the government coming in, and you get Fauci'd. No matter who's in the White House, you get political freedom, business will operate, and the marketplace will function properly, according to Novak, and he's exactly right. Nowadays, we have other types of political freedom to worry about. We get canceled, which is really difficult if I own the whole thing. Why would I cancel myself? That's just dumb. So, oh well, you know. Moral restraint. Moral restraint's what we've been talking about. Are you going to do the right thing as a matter of principle inside your business, with your business. And if you have political freedom, economic freedom, and moral restraint, according to Novak, that is the three legs on which the stool of properly done capitalism operates. If you pull out moral restraint, then you have what the complainers on the Marxist side are bitching about. They're griping about where there is no moral restraint, and so we should wipe the whole thing out. So moral restraint is a part of the equation. My friend Rabbi that I was telling you about, he says, making money is much harder if deep down inside you suspect it to be a morally reprehensible activity. My friend Dr. John Deloney and Jordan Peterson that will be with us later will tell you that to do things that are inconsistent with what you believe to be morally correct is called cognitive dissonance. You have these two things fighting inside of your spirit. You are doing something that you actually believe to be wrong. You will never be good at it. It's very difficult to operate in cognitive dissonance. It causes extreme levels of anxiety. And the only way you're excellent at doing something you believe to be wrong over a long period of time is if you're psychotic. It's the only possibility. You have to be a psychopath, meaning you're devoid of realizing that you're doing something wrong and you don't care at any level that you're doing something wrong. And so you're really good at being a mass murderer, That's the whole process of being a psychopath. And so that's what Rabbi's talking about. So if you believe, that's why I'm doing this talk, if you believe business to be evil, if you believe wealth building and success to be evil, it is very difficult to go about doing it and becoming successful because you've got this thing pushing back against you all the time. Around Ramsey, we say there's a three-legged stool in business, not in economics. We covered economics. We covered capitalism with Novak. We say we've got our own three-legged stool just in business. And that is that the legs of the stool, number one, are serve your team. In business, if you want to win long-term, serve your team. And this is a servant leadership model. John Maxwell taught me this many, many years ago, back on a cassette tape, long before John and I became friends, that servant leadership. Now, the first time I heard John say servant leadership, and John is a person of faith, a Christian like I am, and I was in a Christian leadership thing. He said, you need to serve your people. You need to be a servant leader. I thought, I don't think so. I signed their check. I don't think I'm serving anybody, buddy. That's Christian hogwash. I'm not buying that. Because I didn't hear servant. I heard subservient. And I'm not asking you to be subservient to your folks. You serve your people. Sometimes I serve someone by setting them free in Jesus' name. Have you ever set someone free and later they go on to prosper because the thing they were doing at your place they sucked at? I have. It's happened to me a lot in 30 years. You really suck at this, so you're going to have to do something else. I love you too much to let you just spend your life at something you suck at. So we're going to set you free in Jesus' name. We've tried and tried and tried and tried. We've given you every chance. We've trained you, and you just can't get there. You need to go do something else. And then they go over here, and they're a big, huge success somewhere else. And I went, dadgum, he doesn't suck at that. That's good. Is that serving him? That's serving him, serving her. Sometimes you set someone free. We release them. We use these words like they were trapped, right? And that's okay. Sometimes I serve them by having honest, kind, clear conversations with them. Like, that behavior is not going to operate here. We don't do that here. If you want to be a we don't do that here. And if you want to do that, you got to do that somewhere else because this is who we are. We don't act that way. We don't talk that way. That's not who we are. We don't treat the customer that way. So you don't get to stay. If you want to be a I'm having a clear conversation with you. I'm not, as Pat talked about that yesterday, great organizations have the ability to do conflict well. It took me a little while because I'm Southern, and so by definition, that means I'm passive aggressive. And so, because we believe in being nice. We're nice, bless your heart, nice. Which means we're going to slit your throat, but we're nice about it, And I was trying to be nice all the time, and I really was. I was the kindest guy in the world, and I was so pissed off because they weren't doing the stuff I told them to do. But I never was anything but nice. And I finally figured out to be unclear is to be unkind. You gotta be clear. That's serving someone. Serving someone is I'm gonna organize this business in such a way that you can prosper and live your dreams while you're on our team. That you get to be all you're supposed to be. As Ken Coleman would say, we're gonna get you in the right slot. We're gonna get you with the right motivator and plug you into the right situation. I'm serving you by leading you well. That's servant leadership. And our HR manual is pretty simple. It's treat other people like you want to be treated. Live by the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. So we look at a situation with someone. I said, well, if I was in that situation and I was working for a guy that looked like Ramsey and that was going on, what would I want someone to do? And so we've got one lady that's been with us for 15 years and she's back at work after 2 years off, fighting cancer. Her hair is starting to grow back. She's got this weird, cute little hairdo right now. And we love Melissa, and she's been on the payroll for 2 years and hasn't been at work. You know why? And her husband, Ronnie, is the sweetest guy in the world. Every time I see him, tears coming out of his eyes, he gives me a big old hug. And you know why we treat Melissa like that? Because that's how I'd want someone to treat my daughter, my wife, if they were facing that kind of thing. And if their income was dependent, their household existence was dependent upon her working. And so we treat Melissa like we'd want to be treated if we were fighting cancer. And so we, treat other people like you want. It's not hard, y'all. It's hard because I'm writing checks. But that's the only hard part of it. The decision wasn't hard. That's a value. We're going to treat other people like I don't want to be treated. It's really not difficult. Dave, what about sexual harassment? Hey, we're not going to have sexual harassment at Ramsey. My daughters work there. We might have a murder. But we're not going to have sex. You can't be a creeper and work at Ramsey. We don't do creepers. Well, Dave, you're politically correct. There's a lot of stuff I am, but politically correct is not on the list. We just don't do creepers. That's not the right way to treat people. I don't want a situation where ladies are intimidated to be in a dadgum office because some guy can't keep his freaking hands to himself and his mouth to himself. We don't do creepers. It's not hard. And in 30 years, I've only had 2 I had to fire, but we just don't do creepers. And it's kind of a known thing. How would I treat your daughter's 26 years old. She comes to work for Ramsey. I want you to know she's safe. I treat other people like I don't want to be treated. That's servant leadership.